There's a quiet strength in not reacting. In a world that demands immediate responses, rapid emotions, and instant judgments, choosing stillness can seem like weakness. But it's not. It's power. True power. The ancient Stoics knew this. They practiced it. They lived it. When chaos rises, those who remain still, who pause before they respond, gain control over themselves and their surroundings. This is not about silence. It is about awareness. It is the art of choosing how to act, not being dragged by reaction. Lesson 1. Creating space for thoughtful responses, not just reflexes. Life constantly throws things at us. Comments, situations, challenges, sometimes all at once. Most people react instantly. They say the first thing that comes to mind. They let anger, fear, or pride take the wheel. This is not strength. It is habit. It is the mind on autopilot. The Stoics believed in pausing. They believed in taking a breath before speaking, in stepping back before acting. This pause is powerful. It creates space. In that space, we get to choose. We are no longer slaves to our reflexes. We become thinkers, responders, not reactors. Imagine someone insults you. The reflex is to defend or attack. But if you pause, even for a second, you see it clearly. That insult says more about them than about you. You don't need to join the emotional storm. You can respond with silence, or with grace, or with humor. You get to decide. This ability to pause can change your life. It can save relationships. It can prevent regret. It turns impulsive reactions into wise responses. Stoicism teaches us that emotions are natural, but what matters is what we do next. That gap between emotion and response is where wisdom lives. When you create that space, even for a moment, you gain control. You reclaim your power. You are no longer a puppet pulled by emotion. You are the master of your choices. And every time you choose to respond instead of react, you grow stronger, calmer, wiser. That is the Stoic way. Lesson 2. Disrupting ingrained emotional patterns for clearer thinking. We all have emotional patterns. They were built over years, maybe decades. Some come from childhood, others from repeated experiences. Maybe when someone raises their voice, you shut down. Or maybe you snap back without thinking. These patterns are not chosen. They are learned responses. But Stoicism teaches us that we can unlearn them. Reacting on autopilot keeps us stuck. It clouds our thinking. It limits our choices. But when we stop and observe the emotion, without acting on it, we break the pattern. We see it. We name it. And most importantly, we separate ourselves from it. We are not our anger. We are not our fear. These are feelings, not identities. This shift creates clarity. When we are no longer ruled by the same reactions, we think better. We understand situations more deeply. We see that maybe the person yelling isn't attacking us, they're just in pain. We realize that our fear isn't a sign to run, it as a signal to pause and assess. With clearer thinking, we make better choices. We say wiser things. We act with purpose, not impulse. This takes practice. It doesn't happen overnight. But every time you catch yourself before reacting, you weaken the old pattern. And every time you choose a thoughtful response, you build a new one. Over time, the brain rewires. The storm inside quiets down. You begin to live from a place of reason instead of reactivity. The Stoics weren't emotionless. They just didn't let emotions control them. They knew that reacting blindly would only feed the chaos. So they chose differently, and we can too. We can notice our patterns, question them, and then gently, patiently, choose a better way. A clearer mind, a wiser heart. That's what happens when we stop reacting and start observing. Lesson 3. Preventing energy depletion from unnecessary emotional labor. Emotions are powerful, but they are also exhausting, especially when we spend them on things that don't matter. How often do we get upset about traffic, about someone's tone, about a delayed message? We pour energy into tiny frustrations, and by the end of the day we feel drained, tired, burnt out. Not because life was hard, but because we reacted to every small irritation. The Stoics called this emotional waste. They knew that reacting to everything is like spending your life savings on small, meaningless things. It leaves you empty when something real comes along. They believed in conserving emotional energy. Save it for what truly matters. Let go of the rest. When you don't react, you protect your energy. You keep your peace. Someone cuts you off in traffic, let it go. A coworker snaps at you, stay calm. A stranger online says something rude, ignore it. Not because you are weak, but because you are wise. Your peace is too valuable to give away. Think of your emotions like fuel. Each reaction burns some. If you react all day long, you run out quickly. But if you stay centered, if you choose calm over chaos, you last longer. You think better, you feel better. You're more patient, more kind, more present. The truth is, most things are not worth the emotional cost. Ask yourself, will this matter tomorrow, next week, in a year? If not, save your energy. Let it pass. Respond only when it adds value, only when it serves your purpose. This is not suppression. It's discipline. It's wisdom. Stoicism teaches us to guard our inner world, to not hand it over for free. Every time you choose not to react, you protect your peace. You invest your energy wisely, and over time, you'll notice you're calmer, you're clearer, you're stronger. That's the power of not reacting. Lesson 4. Unveiling hidden information by observing instead of engaging. When we react quickly, we often miss what's really happening. Emotions blur our vision. We jump to conclusions. We assume we know the truth. But when we pause and simply observe, things become clearer. We start to see what lies beneath the surface. The Stoics believed in observation, in watching before acting. They knew that people often say one thing but mean another, that situations often have layers, and those layers are only visible when we are still. Not reacting gives us access to deeper understanding. Imagine someone speaks harshly to you. The immediate reaction is to push back or feel hurt. But if you pause and watch, you might notice their tired eyes or their trembling voice. You might realize they're not angry with you. They're struggling inside. That insight is invisible to the reactive mind, but visible to the quiet observer. Not reacting allows space for truth to emerge. You listen more. You see more. You understand more. And with understanding comes wisdom. You no longer take things personally. You no longer react to surface-level noise. You see the whole picture. In conversations, this skill is gold. When you don't rush to defend or argue, people open up. They reveal more. You gain insight others miss. In conflicts, it gives you the upper hand. While others react emotionally, you gather information. You stay calm, strategic, wise. The Stoics called this the discipline of perception, seeing things as they are, not as we assume. This comes from silence, from observation, from patience. When you stop reacting, the world reveals itself more clearly. People show their true nature. Situations unfold more honestly. So next time you feel the urge to respond, pause, watch, breathe, see what lies beneath. You'll be surprised how much wisdom silence brings. Not reacting is not just restraint, it's awareness, and awareness changes everything. Lesson 5. Cultivating inner resilience against external provocations. Life is full of triggers. People will offend you, plans will fail, things will break, but how you respond to these things decides your strength. The Stoics taught that we cannot control what happens, but we can control how we respond. That's where true power lies. Not reacting doesn't mean being passive. It means being unshaken, grounded, resilient. When you build this kind of inner strength, the world loses its power to disturb your peace. You are no longer easily provoked. You become like a mountain in a storm, steady, calm, immovable. This takes time and effort, but it's worth it. Because once you have this resilience, life becomes easier. You handle setbacks better. You deal with people more wisely. You stop wasting energy on things outside your control, and that frees you to focus on what really matters. When someone tries to provoke you and you don't respond, you are showing strength. You are not controlled by their behavior. You remain in charge of yourself. That's true freedom. That's what Stoicism aims to teach. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic emperors, said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This strength is built every time you choose not to react, every time you hold your ground, every time you stay calm when others expect you to explode. Inner resilience is like a shield. It protects your peace. It keeps you from breaking down when life gets hard. It helps you rise when you fall. And it grows every time you practice it. So next time someone pushes your buttons, remember, you don't have to respond. You can pause, breathe, and remain centered. That's real power. Lesson 6. Shifting from being a puppet to a conscious actor in situations. Most people live on strings, pulled by emotions, controlled by others. Anger from someone else becomes their anger. Fear from the news becomes their fear. They move through life reacting, not choosing. Stoicism teaches us to cut those strings. When you stop reacting, you become free. You shift from being a puppet to a conscious actor. You start to choose your actions based on values, not emotions. You ask, what's the right thing to do here? What serves my higher purpose? What reflects who I want to be? This shift is profound. It gives you back your life. You are no longer at the mercy of moods, opinions, or triggers. You become intentional, purposeful, and this changes how you live. When someone is rude, you don't mirror them. You rise above. When fear shows up, you don't run. You stay still and think. When doubt creeps in, you don't spiral. You examine it with reason. That's the power of being a conscious actor. This doesn't mean emotions disappear. It means they no longer rule you. You acknowledge them, but you don't obey them. You lead your life instead of being led by reactions. Seneca said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And mastery begins with awareness. It begins with the choice not to react, to pause, to ask, what's the best move here? Not the easiest, not the most familiar, the best. And then to act on that choice with clarity. That's how you build a strong life. That's how you earn respect. That's how you find peace. By being conscious, intentional, free from the strings of reaction. Every time you pause and choose wisely, you cut a string and step into true power. Lesson 7. Protecting your mental landscape from others' emotional storms. We live in a world full of noise and emotion. People around us are constantly in a state of flux, angry, stressed, upset. Their emotions can easily spill over and disrupt our peace if we let them. But Stoicism teaches that we can protect ourselves from this chaos. The Stoics believe that while we cannot control other people's emotions, we can control how we allow those emotions to affect us. The key is detachment. This doesn't mean shutting yourself off from others or being indifferent to their struggles. It means not allowing their emotional storms to overrun your mental space. Imagine standing on a beach, watching waves crash on the shore. The waves might be wild and fierce, but the beach stays steady. It doesn't get swept away by every wave. In the same way, you can remain grounded, even when others are turbulent. By not reacting to the emotions of others, you protect your own energy. Someone yells at you. You don't absorb their anger. You don't mirror their rage. You simply observe. Someone vents their frustration. You listen without letting it upset your inner peace. You don't get caught in their storm. This kind of emotional resilience is liberating. It's not easy, especially when people we care about are upset. But when we practice it, we preserve our calm and protect our peace. We stop being at the mercy of other people's emotional states. And this creates space for us to think clearly and respond with compassion rather than getting swept up in the drama. When you master this, you'll find that life becomes more peaceful. You won't be constantly trying to put out other people's fires. Instead, you'll keep your own flame steady, and others will find solace in your calm presence. Your mental landscape will be free from the chaos around you, and that will make all the difference in how you experience the world. Lesson 8. Gaining strategic advantages in negotiations and conflicts. In the heat of a negotiation or conflict, emotions can cloud judgment. The more we react emotionally, the less we think clearly. We make decisions based on impulse rather than logic, and often we end up regretting them. But by practicing the Stoic principle of non-reaction, we gain a strategic advantage in these situations. Imagine being in a high-stakes negotiation. The other party is demanding, aggressive, and trying to push your buttons. The natural reaction is to fight back, to defend your position, or to get defensive. But if you pause and remain calm, you can think more clearly. You can read the situation with greater clarity and assess your options without the rush of adrenaline clouding your judgment. Non-reaction in these situations gives you space to listen carefully, assess what's being said, and respond strategically. You are no longer at the mercy of emotional manipulation. Instead of reacting impulsively, you stay focused on your goals and what you need to achieve. You recognize that conflicts are not about winning or losing, but about finding the best possible outcome for all parties involved. This skill is invaluable. When you are able to detach from your emotions and maintain calm in tense situations, you become more persuasive, more effective, and more respected. Your ability to stay composed under pressure is a powerful tool in both professional and personal conflicts. It allows you to control the conversation, to listen more deeply, and to respond with intention. This strategic advantage doesn't just come from being calm. It comes from the clarity and wisdom that calmness brings. When you are not reacting out of anger, fear, or pride, you see things more clearly. You know when to speak and when to remain silent. You know when to push forward and when to let things be. In negotiations and conflicts, this gives you the upper hand, and it allows you to navigate challenges with grace and effectiveness. Lesson 9. Fostering deeper self-understanding through detached observation. One of the most powerful aspects of not reacting is the deeper self-understanding it can bring. When we stop reacting to external events and begin observing them without judgment, we also start to observe ourselves more clearly. We notice our thoughts, our emotions, and our patterns of behavior. We begin to see where our reactions come from and what drives them. This process of self-observation is at the heart of Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believed that understanding yourself is the key to living a virtuous life. By pausing before reacting, we create space for self-reflection. We can ask ourselves why we feel a certain way, why we want to react in a particular manner, and whether that reaction aligns with our values. Over time, this leads to greater self-awareness. We start to notice which situations trigger us, what insecurities we have, and where our weaknesses lie. With this awareness, we can begin to make changes. We can address the underlying issues instead of simply reacting to the symptoms. Self-understanding brings growth. It allows us to overcome our past patterns and move toward a more virtuous, intentional way of living. By practicing non-reaction, we turn every situation into an opportunity for growth. Each moment of pause is a moment to deepen our understanding of ourselves. Each time we choose not to react impulsively, we get closer to the person we want to be. Self-understanding is a lifelong journey, and the Stoics believed that it was essential for living a good life. Through detached observation, we not only learn about the world, but about ourselves. Lesson 10. Inspiring a sense of calm and control in your environment. When we stop reacting, we begin to change not just ourselves, but our entire environment. Our peace becomes contagious. Others begin to notice. They see how we handle stress, how we face challenges, how we remain calm when things get tough. This calmness inspires those around us. It sets the tone for the interactions and relationships we build. In any environment, whether at home, at work, or in social settings, calmness is a rare and powerful asset. People are drawn to those who are steady, who don't get swept up in drama, who handle stress with grace. When you practice non-reaction, you create an atmosphere of calm and control. You set the standard. People around you feel safer, more at ease, and more willing to work together. This isn't about suppressing emotions or pretending everything is okay. It's about choosing to remain centered in the midst of chaos. It's about responding with purpose rather than reacting with impulse. When you lead with calmness, others naturally follow your example. Your sense of inner peace becomes a beacon, guiding others toward tranquility as well. In relationships, this creates a space where honest communication can thrive. In work environments, it fosters collaboration and productivity. In social situations, it builds trust and respect. Your ability to remain calm doesn't just serve you, it serves everyone around you. By choosing not to react, you create a ripple effect that calms your environment and brings a sense of peace to those you interact with. The power of not reacting is transformative. It creates a space for growth, understanding, and connection. It's not just about personal peace. It's about creating an environment where others can find peace as well. In this way, your calmness becomes a force for good in the world. The power of not reacting is not just a Stoic principle. It's a way of living that brings clarity, peace, and strength. By pausing before we respond, we create space for wisdom. We disrupt old emotional patterns, conserve our energy, and protect our mental landscape. We shift from being puppets of our emotions to conscious actors in our own lives. We gain strategic advantages in conflicts and negotiations. We foster deeper self-understanding and inspire calmness in our surroundings. This practice requires patience and discipline, but the rewards are worth it. Every time we choose to pause instead of react, we grow stronger. Every time we choose calm over chaos, we gain more control. We become the architects of our lives, shaping our responses with intention rather than impulsivity. And in doing so, we become not only masters of ourselves, but also sources of peace and strength for those around us. In the end, the power of not reacting is the power of choice. It's the power to live with purpose, to be grounded in the face of adversity, and to move through life with a clear mind and a calm heart. And that is a power that can change everything.